What's up, guys? Back out here in the shop again today. Remember last time we got the frame brackets done? Today we're going to be building the actual bumper itself, or at least starting on that process. So let me show you what I got and where we're going. Alright, now you guys should know, if you watch some of my other videos, pretty terrible YouTuber when it comes to actually filming things. With that said, I did not film how I designed this top piece that I'm going to show you guys, but basically we went with paper and came up with the basic shape of the top of our bumper. So this is what I've been working on, and this is just kind of what my vision is. And I just basically look at bumpers online, say I want to use the design aspects from this one, screenshot them, look over them, come up with an idea. If you're good with drawing, you can draw them. I'm not. I just go straight to designing it and go from there. So basically I just cut a piece of paper as wide as the Jeep, as long as I wanted the bumper to be, and then I came up with some points to design the angles and stuff. And basically right at this point they start to curve in, so we leave this whole area open for our winch. So like I said, you can see it's just a couple pieces of poster board taped together. I usually put them all on the factory edge here of the metal to square them up, tape them together, then I just start drawing. And then these pieces I actually cut out and added on later to wrap around the edge of the Jeep and tuck underneath. Let me show you guys what it looks like on the vehicle, and then we're gonna cut it out. So as you guys can see, I made the bumper terminate right here where it meets the grill. That's why I had to add this little filler piece, because a straight edge wasn't gonna wrap around this front end. So this filler piece tucked up, filled this little bit of a gap that was here, and then I added this little wraparound. I think it's gonna look a lot better than the bumper just ending right here. Even if it's only, you know, an inch tall right here, it'll just give it a better look, in my opinion. And this is pretty much an idea of what it's gonna look like. It may look pretty large, but it has to be to fit our winch. And you know, I already pulled the measurements to make sure we're gonna have room. We'll get to cutting that stuff out later, but for now we're gonna move on and cut this out of metal. I always start with the top, generally speaking. This poster board's a little bit too thin to make the entire bumper out of first, so I start with the top. We'll cut the top out of metal, place it on here, and then we'll start playing with our other shapes that we're going to involve in this design. Alright guys, so same thing as before. We're going to use this factory edge as the front of our bumper here, and just line it up with your fingers, get it as even as possible. This way this edge is going to be perfectly straight and we don't have to worry about cutting it. Magnets again, just go around, secure the bumper. This is a pretty big piece, so you want to use maybe a couple more magnets. There we go, guys. There's our shape. And I feel like I didn't mention this, so I probably should. The way I got this curve here, I literally just took a piece of paper like this, held it underneath the Jeep like that, and traced it, and then cut it out, and then put my face piece there, centered it up, and taped that on where I thought it should be. Made another one, checked some measurements, and taped the other side on. But for now, what I'm gonna do is get to cutting this out. Unfortunately, this middle is all gonna be waste. So what I'll do is I'll take my big straight edge, mark from here to here, and basically cut the whole piece out with that still there. And once that's separate from the whole sheet, we'll cut that. Alright guys, so unfortunately this video is gonna be a little bit fucked up. I accidentally just blasted my GoPro with sparks and it melted like the lens cover. So I'll have to get a new one, but it is what it is. I got most of this cut out except for this inside corner. I forgot how sharp it is. It's not really gonna be feasible to cut that with an angle grinder just because of how tight of an angle that really is. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm probably gonna use my plasma cutter. But if you didn't have one, you have a couple options. Cut it down, like I cut down this side, and then just get grinding wheels, flap wheels, you know, hard rocks, and grind all that shit out by hand. Or what I would do, if it was me, get a hole saw. Oh, damn, that shit's still hot. I would get a hole saw and hole saw that corner out and then grind that little bit left. I'm just gonna use a plasma cutter. I have one, it's way easier. But if you don't have one, feel free to use one of those methods. All right, I actually got these finished up. I did not use the plasma cutter. It's not set up for TIG right now, so I wasn't even gonna bother switching it over. So I got them, I basically just took a hard rock and ate away at it, then came back with a flap wheel and cleaned it up. And what I'm gonna do now is double check my pattern. If you look here, this one's a little bit more meat than that one. Not the end of the world. For one, no one will ever notice. For two, we can always shave the other one down to match. So we're gonna double check on our pattern, see how it looks. Once again, I'm sorry about the lens, guys. I ordered a new one. It'll be here tomorrow. I mean, I really cooked that bitch pretty good. Oh well. But here is the piece on the Jeep. So as you can see, we terminate perfectly where the grill ends. Barely any little gap right there. It's slightly hitting on the ends right now. That's fine. I actually didn't tell you guys this. I'm gonna shave an 1/8 inch off these mounts because the frame rolls in here. This inside corner is like a roll, and it's actually pushing this bumper bracket out like that. So we're gonna shave that off. That'll clear up that. Overall, I'm really happy with the shape of that. I think that's gonna look really good. I do suggest you guys go over with the grinder and just deburr this inside corner since you're gonna be near the paint. And if you're really, really worried about it, tape all this up with painter's tape. Do not grind these edges and round them. You wanna leave them sharp because when we come up with the face pieces, those are gonna matter. But I'm really happy with that. I'm gonna go ahead, get these guys cleaned up, probably shorten them so we can start on the face piece, and we're gonna get some more paper and just keep designing. All right guys, before we start designing the remainder of this bumper, we have to take into some considerations of what we're putting in it. Because this is gonna be a winch bumper, we have to make room for the winch and everything accommodated with the winch. And basically we're gonna have to cut a well out to lower the winch down, which is what I wanted anyway. I wanted to sink the winch in. I didn't want the fair lead to be low though. So what I've done is put some angles in here with some clamps and put our board in here to set the height of our winch and give us an idea. Now, my idea is to have this come up a piece just angled straight down from here. That's not gonna work with the fair lead being lowered into the bumper some. So what we have to do is figure out how low that fair lead's gonna be and then cut a flat for here. This is gonna be a flat section for the fair lead to recess down into, then it'll kick in. That's what we have to figure out now. I have about a 2.5 inch lowered panel in there for the winch, and I like that. So I think what I'm gonna do is cut a 2.5 inch strip to lower the fair lead into, and then we'll work on our angles. Went back to CAD, got a little piece cut up and mocked up, and this is 2 3/4 inches. This is basically enough to bolt the fair lead right there and have it sit on that piece lower so we can sink the winch in. Now, we got to make a piece for here. My design personally, I don't want just a 2-inch square. You know, you could bring this around square, you know, whatever. My design, not how I'm doing it. What I'm gonna do is, this is real simple to do. You're just gonna measure down 2 3/4. I know that. You're gonna measure how long the top is, and then however far down you want this. I'm probably gonna make this about 1.5 inches or so and bring this up on an angle, and eventually the angle is gonna terminate over here. So I'm gonna go draw that out, cut up some wings, tape it together, and we'll see how it looks. So guys, here's a very good reason why you put it to cardboard before you just go cutting metal. I'm putting this here, and you know that side lines up good. I'm really just not liking how tall it is. I want the taper to be a little bit more aggressive. I don't think you can tell enough. So good reason why we do all this drawing first. All right, we did a little bit of shaping up here. This is much more of what I want. And then this will terminate over here, probably a 1/2 inch tall. But this way, the flat piece, which I don't really want to have at all, but we need to lower the winch. That way, you know, we taper it up, we sleek it out. And if you notice, you got to make sure all these corners terminate perfectly and all of them line up. And you can see they all do that. And I also, when I tape these, I tape them right below, butt them up flush with the bottom edge of this plate. Because when we cut it out of metal, we want all the corners and joints to be open corner joints. I got the shape cut for this lower panel that we're going to design that's going to fit in there. And it's going to be angled down. I also cut these little side pieces in so you can kind of see how the profile swoops up. But for now, what I'm going to do is pull this bumper a little bit off and show you guys what I'm thinking for here. Something kind of like that, you know, you can kind of see the angle there. But I also want these ends to have an angle in. I'm going to use the angle finder to basically create a matching angle on each side for that piece. And I'm thinking around 10 degrees to start with. Now, what I do to square this up is take your square, go like that, butt that up against it so that this guy is perpendicular. Then you're just gonna find the edge where you want it to terminate. And then give her a little marking and do the same thing on the other side. All right, so we got a 10-degree angle in here, which makes this one a real weird angle because it's actually gonna be like an acute angle because this is gonna be leaned in. So basically I'm just gonna go around, hold the paper up, trace it, cut it. I'm gonna do some more cutting and stuff. I'm not gonna bore you with any of that. You get the idea of what I'm doing. I'm gonna make the rest of the bumper out of paper. Then I'm gonna show you how we dissect it, transfer it to metal, and make the rest. All right guys, a couple things. Got a new GoPro lens on right now. It's the next day. I finished my bottom profile of what I want, and I'm gonna start cutting it out using the same method we've been using. What I didn't tell you guys is I'm gonna try something different. I have a little press brake. I think I'm gonna try and make the whole horizontal pieces one. So this whole bottom wraparound angled in piece will be one piece. This is what it looks like. These are the bend lines. So I'm gonna cut all this out and try bending it. Just giving you guys a heads up. If you don't have a brake, most people don't, you can easily just cut these and weld them. This will just save some welding. It'll also give the bumper a different look because the edges will be rolled. I don't even know if it's gonna work out. It might fail. I might end up welding it and cutting all the pieces and wasting some metal, but that's what it's all about. Alright, so you guys just watched the Swag off-road brake doing some work. I love that thing. If you're into fabrication, you can even get the cheaper one. It's super fun to have, and it adds a whole nother dimension to fabrication. But as you can see, this one got overbent. I measured the angle wrong. We'll fix that. We'll come look at it from the pretty side. Look at that fitment. We got a perfect open, this will probably get shifted a little bit that way, but perfect open corner joint. These have to get rounded just because of the radius of that brake. These will get pushed up tighter since it's not 100% right now, but look at these open corner joints. These are gonna weld beautifully, and I think that fitment is just insane. We also bent the lower piece. Now I ran into an issue over here. Because of how sharp this angle is, this got all goofy in the brake and it kind of got fucked up. So I'm not gonna bend the other side. We're gonna bend that with a torch once it's in and fix this one. But otherwise, the lower fascia fits great. I'm really happy about that. I didn't know if this idea would work because when you're using the paper, you have all hard angles, and this brake does not produce a hard angle with the bottom die that's in there. But it all worked out pretty good. So next time you guys check back in, we're gonna be welding this bumper out and finishing it, which I'm super excited to show you guys. We also have some finishing touches. As you can see, I got some D-rings to weld on there. We're also gonna fit the winch and the winch tray in the next episode. But for now, you guys got to see me cut it out, design the shape, and yeah, stay tuned. Next episode, welding it out. Peace.